In this video, we'll show you how sparring is used in EMA Taekwondo program. Unlike self-defense practice, you're not trying to hurt, injure, or immobilize your partner. Instead, your goal is try to score as many kicks and punches as you can to proper targets during your match. Like playing a game, your goal is trying to outscore your partner while you both follow established safety rules. Students should not confuse the purpose of self-defense versus sparring, as different techniques are better suited for one purpose versus the other. To begin, you will need the following safety gear. For Taekwondo students who are a white belt and up, you will need shin and instep guards, forearm guards, and a mouthpiece. A headgear, growing cups, and sparring gloves are also recommended. For green belt student and above, in addition to the shin and instep pads, the forearm pads, and the mouthpiece that will require for the white belts, you will now also need a chest protector or chest guard and a headgear. So during your practice, here's how a sparring match will start. First, you get a partner. You have a place to begin. Your partner and you are on opposite side of the ring. In this case, you have an actual ring. Sometime in the class, just a spot or a space you're given works too. First, you face your partner, you come forward. For us, we use about a 6 feet distance using the mat. Most of our school would call this a 2 square distance. So, you're gonna face your partner, you come to attention, you do a bow. This is to show respect and recognition of the person you're about to practice with. We take care of this at the start and at the end of our match. Once you do the bow, you will hear sparring stand ready or sparring stand 준비. At that point, you go to your sparring stand. So, sparring 준비! You do a nice strong key up. When you hear 시작 will begin, the match starts. 시작! With your hands, you're allowed to use the front part of your fist to do punches in Taekwondo sparring. The target you're trying to hit is going to be the midsection, which for us is from the belt up to the shoulder and from the ribs on forward. That's on both sides. So for example, Master Jasmine can punch to the chest. She can also punch to the stomach or even to the side of the rib, depending on the angle that her partner is standing or is during the match. What you cannot do with your hand is punch anywhere else. That's include below the belt or above the shoulder, and no other hand techniques. Knife hand, palm strike, back fist are allowed in Taekwondo sparring. For kicking, you are allowed to use your foot anywhere from the ankle down below. That include your instep, the edge, the heel, the inside, ball of the foot, or the whole foot itself. So anything below the ankle, you're allowed to use during a Taekwondo match. Now, the targets for kicks in Taekwondo will include the midsection, which is, again, from the belt up to the shoulder, from the side of the rib, onward. So, if Master John chooses to kick to the body, he can go to her stomach or chest. Now, to the head, you're also allowed to kick as well. The target for the head will be from the ear forward. So, the front and the side of the head is allowed. So, either a body kick is allowed, or a head kick is allowed in Taekwondo sparring. But those are the only areas you can kick during a match. You cannot kick below the belt, the back of the body, or anywhere else for that matter. For our intermediate level, sparring begins and ends the same way. You have your partner, but now you and them are more padded. A few notes about your gear. When wearing your chest gear, you can actually see where you are allowed to hit. So if Master John lift up his arm on this side, you see the chest guard go back a little bit here. This is an allowable target in Taekwondo sparring. You can't and should hit back here, but a kick here is allowed. So again, kick and punch anywhere that you've had it from the side of the ribs forward, including the front of the chest area. Kicks are allowed to the side of the head as well as the front. This is where it's important to have our mouthpiece. So, same as beginner, cut, 공예! 스파링 준비, 시작! At the end of the match, you will hear instructor, call stop or borrow. At that point, you come back. Come back! You would then go back to the side where you start your match from, same distance. Come here, bow, and that's how you show respect to your partner. And then you step back. Either you wait for the next round with the same partner, or wait for a switch of different people to spar during the match. Now, we are going to show you a few things that you should and can't do in Taekwondo sparring. These are common mistakes that new sparrers tend to make, so we want to show you these to help you avoid them. First thing in sparring, these are your partner, they're not your opponent, so there are some safety rules and some courtesy you must follow. For example, if they are in a sparring set and they're sparring and one of them fall down on the ground. Let's say Master John and Master Jasmine are sparring and Master John happened to trip or fall on the ground. Let's do a triple exchange, he'll fall down. Now, look what his partner will do at this point. She'll stop, she might help her partner back up, that's great. Sometime, let's go back a bit, sometime if your partner is down, just stop and step back to the edge and wait for an instructor. If your partner is injured, we actually prefer you not to touch them. That way you may be able to step out of the side and have someone who's more qualified to come and help them. But what you don't want to do is when Master John is down on the ground, right? His partner should not be trying to kick or punch him at that point. So that would not be allowed in sparring. So let's rewind, let's go back, let's see how they handle it. So they'll do a mock sparring match where Master John will take a fall and his partner will end up either helping or staying back. So this is one of our common rules or common practice we want our new students to know. When your partner's down on the ground, don't kick or punch them. Instead, either help them get up or just step back and wait for an instructor. Another thing to watch out for is when your partner needs a moment, whether to fix their gear or to deal with a possible injury they might have after an exchange. For example, Master Jasmine and Master John are sparring, and Master Jasmine may do a block on a kick. And it might sting her arm. Now, at this point, let's freeze for a second. At this point, she's holding her arm. It might be a moment or two that she needs to recompose herself. But at this point, Master John being a good partner, he'll back off. He'll go this side. While this is going on, Master Jasmine will wait. He might shake it off, she might hold it. If there's a light injury, she'll be back. But look what she does when she chooses to come back. You have to tell your partner that you're ready to come back in. To do that, a proper way is by coming up to where you started the match from, bow back into that person, go to your own sparring stand without anyone telling you, and then they resume. And come back, okay? Now, if you are the person who is recovering from the injury or need a moment, when you come back in, you must come to a full bow and then do your sparring stand. What you don't want to do is rest on your injured arm. Let's say Master Jasmine's down resting and all of a sudden come running right back in and start kicking. Right? That would not be a courteous thing or respectful thing to do. When you're ready to come back, you come back to where you start, you will bow back in. That's how you tell your partner that you're ready to spar him again. You go to your sparring stand and then you both are ready to go again. Another thing you want to avoid is using illegal technique in Taekwondo sparring. Now we talked about the targets earlier. However, we only allow the punch and kick. So for example, during a match, Master Jasmine and Master John get fairly close. They're actually really close enough that they can actually shove or push or grab. So Master Jasmine did a shove right there, that would not be allowed in class. Or if Master John grabbed onto her chest guard or her gear and try to hold her or push her or move her around, that also is not allowed. Again, the only hand thing that you're allowed to use is a straight punch, like that, or from Master John's side, like that. So no grabbing or no pushing in Taekwondo sparring. Another common occurrence we may see with our student in sparring is that they might go off the allowable space during sparring. Meaning your partner and you may spar and end up toward one edge or the other. And in this case, a courteous thing to do is to bring them back. So for example, if Master John and Master Jasmine are sparring, Master John is pressing or attacking often, and Master Jasmine is pushed back towards the wall, right? At some point, she'll run out of space. Now, at this point, Master John being a good partner, he actually would stop the attack, he will walk back and bring her back in a little bit. Now, We don't want you to think, well, if I just back out enough, eventually I just walk back in. But as a courteous partner, he recognizes sometimes there's not enough space to do an exchange, you bring him back. But keep in mind, when you spar, don't back up all the time. Back up a little bit is okay. When you run out of space, hopefully your partner is paying attention and he or she will bring you back. With proper training, supervision, and properly paired partners, sparring can be tremendously enjoyable as it will allow participants to actively engage with a live target where there's no set patterns or predetermined.